Hey, good morning. Good morning. I have a quote. Am I live? I read this amazing quote in the book I'm reading from Albert Einstein yesterday afternoon. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. How powerful is that? How true is that? Good morning. My name is Judy V, and I work with entrepreneurially minded people to be financially empowered so that they can have the freedom that they deserve. And today, what I want to do is talk about your number, right? Your number using the qualities that you have, gaining your number using the qualities that you have, the innate qualities that you have, as spoken about by Albert Einstein. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, all right? The rational mind is the faithful servant. Good morning, Patricia. But we have forgotten that in society. It's what I say. Marry your inner technology with the outer technology and you shall have freedom. That's what I said. I suppose it's the same thing as what Albert Einstein was saying. When you are clear about your number is as unique to you as your fingerprints. Your number is what you need to support the vision that you have for your life. When you're crystal clear on your vision, to the point where the voice of your heart and the drive and the clarity of your vision drowns out the agendas and the voices on the outside, you will begin to master your life. But here's the challenge. The challenge is we subjugate ourselves to the noise and the voices and the agendas of outside of ourselves. And we do that by letting go of the innate ability we have to connect in with the universal intelligence and trusting our intuitive mind. Your number is something that changes over time. It is a number, it is whatever number that's right for you now, but it changes. I was speaking to somebody yesterday who every 6 months he reviews his number. He's in the tribe of traders, he's one of our traders, and he reviews his number every 6 months. And his number, he sets a target for his number for 5 years. And that's what I suggest in the tribe of traders. You have a number set for 5 years. But he reviews it every 6 months, and he knows what he's going to get every 6 months, what his number will be every 6 months. And every 6 months is growing incrementally because he is growing incrementally. And every 6 months he sets a target, a financial target for his net worth. And every 6 months he gets it. No matter what, come what may, he gets it. He gets that number. He really understands what I'm talking about when I talk about your number. So, all right, what is your number? Your number is your net worth, right? Your number is your net worth. Your net worth, when you have a target for a net worth that you can relate to with every cell in your body, it becomes believable. You embrace it, it becomes believable. You then know what to do in order to attain it. And what's more, you intuitively know. This is where you intuitively know that you will be able to achieve it. And this is when the intuitive mind is the sacred gift, as Einstein said. Because you may not know necessarily the detail of how, the actual detail how, but the why is big enough. The how takes care of itself. Now, the how in terms of the minute detail, but definitely the broad strokes of the how. So let's say, for example, again, I want to use trading as an example. People get into trading and they get into trading with a fantasy of a number that they want to achieve. Okay, it might be they starting with 2,000 pounds, euros, dollars, whatever it might be, and they want to get 29 million in few years, right? Which is going to be impossible, right? Because if they're only starting off with 1,000 right now, 29 million, if they're only starting with 1,000 now, what part of their net worth, what part of who they are could possibly relate to making 29 million in a couple of years, right? You have to be able to become that person. So if it seems like a fantasy, what you're going to do, what we all do, it's part of who we are. We cannot change it. If you set up a fantasy for a goal that you want to achieve, especially a financial goal, that's 100% based on fantasy and no relationship to reality, well, you're going to set up unconscious behaviors to sabotage it. That's why we self-sabotage. Okay? If you're finding yourself repeating behavior that is holding you back, you need to be asking yourself why. Because if you're getting frustrated with it and continuously making the same pattern of behavior that is sabotaging yourself, there's a reason for that. It's not accidental. It's not by coincidence. There's a reason for it. But here's the problem. We constantly justify it. Instead of asking ourselves, well, why? Go peel it back. Stop justifying, because that's the effect. What's the cause? We are the cause, right? Why are we doing that? We're doing it because we unconsciously want to balance our perception. That's what we do. We balance our perception. We have a fantasy, all right? We have a fantasy. We're going to set up an equal and opposite phobia or challenge. Okay, that's what we're going to do. We're going to, in order to be able to bring it back into balance. What Newton said, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Okay, anything that's done outside of 100% centered alignment, outside of that balanced state of love, appreciation, compassion, and empathy, is judgment. Anytime there's judgment, the universe is going to work with you in order to try and balance it. Does that make sense? Important you understand this. So never set up a fantasy, right? Right now, it is very, very important that you have a number, that you focus on a number. What is your net worth? What is it that you want to achieve? Look, for some people, I'm saying, listen, depending on where you are in your self-aware journey, right? If you're more advanced, you can do like the guy I was talking about yesterday. Every 6 months, he reassesses his number that he wants in 5 years. So that 5 years target is always moving, isn't it? If he's reviewing it, he's always, that 5 year target's always moving. Because the more you grow, the more you are growing in your self-worth, the more your net worth grows, and the more he's reviewing it. So what he's doing is he's doing my wealth thermometer every 6 months. Your wealth thermometer is a self-assessment on your ability to hold on to, grow, and earn wealth. Okay, and then it uncovers any blocks that you have on the journey, on the way. And that is what the wealth thermometer does with you. So what he does, he reviews his number by doing the wealth thermometer every 6 months. And every 6 months, he's getting his target. He's increasing his net worth. Now, that is somebody that has financial wealth building high on his values, okay? And he's never once missed it. Right now, it is very important that we have a number, that we're really, really clear on our number right now. I'm beginning to hear so much on reports and social media and so on. Some really bright guys and gals talking about the recession coming and the challenges coming and property property defaults and property market dropping, commercial rentals being defaulted on, and so on. And it's going to get louder, right? That noise is going to get louder, right? It is going to get louder. Make no mistake about it. Is it real? Well, here's the thing. This is how I see it. The more you talk about it, the more energy you give it, the more we're going to make it real, right? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I want you to not engage in that noise. You have a choice. If you've done my Survive to Thrive or the 3-day Accelerate program, you will know that I'm very much adamant about the concept that we get to choose moment by moment, right? It's a choice. We may not control, because we necessarily cannot control what the whole world is saying, or the whole world's agenda, or the whole world's psyche is at. We get to choose, though, moment by moment, where we are, right? I want you now to focus on what it is that you want. Align your number with your agenda in your life. Have a clear vision of what it is that you would love. My suggestion: what is it you would love by the end of this year? We're in a really good point, right? Really, really, really good point. Now's a really good time, right? July, we've got 6 months left of the year. Okay? Make it count. What is your number for the end of this year? What is your number for the next 5 years? And then review it every 6 months. Okay? What is it? What is it you would love your life to be? Now, here's the thing. I want you to think about it this way. I put a post into the Wealth Breakthrough Facebook group the other day about assets. Most people don't understand assets. Assets need to be something that's generating income for you, that's generating money for you. It's not simply something that you can sell for cash. It needs to be making money for you. All right, that is what a true asset is. And part of the issue is we don't understand money. We don't understand how to make money work for us. But what I want you to do is over the next week, get clear about what it is you would love your life to look like in 6 months' time, 1 year's time, 2 years' time, 5 years' time. Okay? Always allowing for putting 10%, at least minimum 10% every single month away into your bulletproof account. All right? Every single month. So what did you want your life to look like? How much do you need to sustain that life? Putting 10% away, okay, every 6 months, every month, right? Putting 10% away every month. The other thing you must do as well is pay yourself first, right? These are two important tricks that not tricks, they're important necessities that you need to do every single month or every single time you get money in. Pay yourself first and put 10% away. And then you look at what else needs to be done. That's a minimum of what you need to be doing, all right? And then focusing on what that number is and what that number is that you need to sustain the life that you would love to have, all right? Now, don't come to me and say, like, you've got a net worth of, say, 20,000 right now, and by the end of this year, you would love to have 1 million. How are you going to make that, all right? How are you going to make 1 million? Where's that money going to come from? Are you going to invest? Are you going to inherit it? Great, maybe that's possible. But are you going to invest it? Are you going to put some money away? How are you going to make that 1 million? It's not likely unless you come up with a widget and sell it in a startup in the next couple of weeks. All right, it's unlikely. All right, so make sure having a stretch, right? Understanding that the intuitive mind is a sacred gift, as Einstein said. Okay, it's a sacred gift. Knowing that we are greater than just the mortal body. We can see more. We can imagine more. We can see more, imagine more than we give ourselves credit for. Okay, it's our head that holds us back. It's 100% our head. It's our mind that holds us back. Is when we're listening to the voice of the outside that holds us back. When we drown out that voice of the outside and listen to the voice of the heart inside of us, that's when we start listening to the power of who we really are. And that's when we start locking into endless opportunities, endless opportunities, and endless talents and skills, limitless skills and talents that we have. We really have. We have far more than our mortal body. That's one thing I want you to really understand. We are far more than this mortal body. We are far more than this what we feel and think of is in our head. So there's two things. That when we set a fantasy, that fantasy comes from the amygdala brain, the hindbrain, okay, where we're seeking prey without predator. Okay. When we place a goal that is a stretch, it needs to stretch us, okay, but not based on fantasy. It needs to be based on what we would love in our life, but really love in our life, okay? And when we do that, and we follow that from the full brain, from our intuitive brain, from our heart brain, Okay, remember the heart brain is something that is being researched now and is a real thing. The connection between the forebrain or the telecephalon and the heart is massive and is being researched, and by peer-reviewed research documents, it's been proven that it exists now. And when we start working and living by that, is when we start getting true empowerment, okay, and true living to the fullest extent of our potential. When you focus on what your number is and you set regular targets to revisit that, and you get clarity on how you're going to get clarity on why, and the broad strokes of how you're going to create that, and you focus on that, and you put all your effort and your attention on that, rather than listening to the noise on the outside, the agenda on the outside. Okay, we've had the most watershed year so far. It has been just something else. We have gone from a society where financially we had more millionaires than ever before. We had stocks, shares, the share indexes sky high, never been higher, where we had home ownership at an all-time high. We had literally everything was at an all-time high, right, at the beginning of this year. It was just, if you look back and you read the stats and stuff, it was just incredible. I'm not saying there wasn't poverty. Of course there was poverty, but there had never been so many living with so much, okay? Then we were hit with the virus, and that created an unprecedented situation. And then what's come out of that is this an awakening to injustices in the world, okay? Where we're starting to really get clarity. I think we've always been really clear on the injustice of the world and endemic racism. I think we've been clear on that, but not prepared to talk about it to the clarity of which we are now, and call it what it is, right? We're really calling it out now, right? The world is calling it out, and that, why did that happen, right? We had to go through something so beyond our comprehension in order for things to start coming out. And the first thing that's come out is this dialogue that we're having about endemic racism and institutional racism, and how it is infiltrated every core of who we are in society. So we're now having that conversation, right? Bloody good thing. Also, what's interesting, I don't know if you've noticed, but over the past few days, something else is also happening, and that is child trafficking. That conversation is coming out, and there's a lot of attention and focus coming out around that topic. Really interesting. If you look at it, a really interesting year. It's a year where we are seriously being called to look and see, well, who are we? What are we? What do we stand for? What do we stand for and what do we not stand for? It is an incredible year of watershed. It's a year that we can actually stand up and at an incredibly cellular level as a society literally change the way in which we think in order to move forward. Because let's face it, something had to change. Did we need this virus to create that wake-up call for us? I mean, when you think about it, like over 1 million children are trafficked every year. Over 1 million. That's not to mention the number of children that are abused every year, and how endemic pedophilia is in society. Okay, we're starting to wake up to this, and we get to choose if we want to be a part of that problem or part of that solution. I don't know about you, but I want to be part of that solution. And how we're going to do that is by being empowered. Not just empowered in words, but truly empowered. And I always say, if you're not financially empowered, you're not empowered in life. Being part of the solution means being empowered, and that includes being financially empowered. So I'm urging you to make the decision to get clarity on your vision. Know what your number is. What is it that your number? What is the life that you would love to create? What is the life? What would you love your life to look like in 6 months here? You want 6 months from now? In other words, 31st of December. 1 year from now? 2 years from now? 5 years from now? What is it you would love your life to look like? Each and every month during that 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, you're paying yourself first. You're paying 10% into your bulletproof account without fail. And what else do you need or would you love in your life to sustain the vision you have for your life? What is that number? And revisit it every 6 months. Because the more you're going for it, the more you're raising your self-worth, the more self-awareness, self-governance. So that number is going to naturally grow. Whatever you settle on now doesn't mean that's what you're going to get. You will grow into it. It's like somebody who's coming into trading. They start with £1,000 account. They want 29 million in 5 years. A couple of years, I say, well, that's not possible. Let's get practical. Can they get $1 million in 5 years? Hell yes, they can. Yes, right? Can they get 500,000? Hell yes, right? And every 6 months you review it, you tweak it, you review it, and you do what's necessary. This is a journey where we truly, and this is the book, Patricia, Robert Greene, the Concise Mastery. I've read quite a few of his books. This is where the intuitive mind is a sacred gift and the rational mind is the faithful servant. We acknowledge the fact that the rational mind is the faithful servant. Right, that's important. We acknowledge it, we appreciate it. It has a role, but it doesn't run us. It does not run us. Okay, then we're not part of the society that honors the servant and forgotten the gift. Okay, that is when we acknowledge, right? We acknowledge the rational mind, which is the ego. Okay, that's when we acknowledge it. But we're not a servant to it. We are a master. We're its master. Okay, that's when you start to master your life. When you listen to the voice within and you listen only to that with clarity of what it is you would love to achieve, and you go for that with every cell in your body, and you will when that number or that clarity of vision is clear. The extent to which you have clarity is the extent to which you will achieve. Guys, I cannot tell you that enough. I cannot stress that enough. The extent of which you have clarity is the exact extent to which you are going to achieve it. Okay. That's when you start marrying your inner technology with your outer technology. Your inner technology is your innate brilliance, your innate genius, your knowledge, your wisdom. All right, where you connect in with the universal intelligence, where you know that you are unstoppable, where you know there is absolutely nothing you cannot achieve. I could tell you, and I've shared this with some of my groups, I could tell you incredible stories of how you can actually teach yourself to do something, never having done it before, never having been taught it, and how in literally hours you can teach yourself something that you've never done before, right? I mean, never. I'm talking about from playing musical instruments to skiing to speaking a language. Okay, I've done it with people. I've experienced it myself, just using your intuitive inner technology. Okay, when you marry that with the outer technology, what we've got available to us at our fingertips now more than ever, that's when you become the master of your life. Right now, I want to urge you, be part of the solution. Step into your power. Step into the fullest extent of your potential. Get clarity on your vision, get clarity on your number, and focus on that. Do not listen to the growing voices and drama that we will be facing more of over the next coming months. Okay, because trust me, it's going to get louder. But you have a choice, a moment by moment choice of how you're going to take your life forward. You can create what will appear to be the impossible to those that are slave to their mind. But you're not slave to your mind, you're the master of yourself. Okay, you know that you have access to infinite wisdom. And when you have access to infinite wisdom, that's true empowerment, that's true wealth. Okay? And that's where you start becoming part of the solution and not continuing to be part, or not perpetuating the problem that we're experiencing in society today. So it's a rally call. Join me, guys. Please, let's be part of the solution. Let's change this world. Let's create opportunity. Let's create love, compassion, empathy, appreciation in this world by being empowered, living to the fullest extent of our potential. It's your divine birthright. And it's when we start making, it's when we start making paradigm shifts in society. And that's when we start to exemplify what is human, what is possible for humanity. All right, guys, a little bit sort of odd session today, but it's it really is important. Get clear on your number, get clear on your vision. When you get clear on your vision, get clear on your number and focus on that. And it's important, the more clear you are on your vision, the more you will believe on a cellular level what that number is. You believe that you can actually get it, you can achieve it, you can be that person. And the more you revisit it, the more you can grow it. It's a never-ending target, okay? It's always moving, right? By all means, have one for 50 years' time, or 10 years, or 20 years, whatever it is. By all means, but have shorter-term ones as well. All right, guys, take care. Lots of love. Bye.